All right, guys, one of the most important things that you're going to do once you've completed the installation and you have placed all of the sensors, alarm devices in their proper locations, cameras, Z-Wave devices, is you're going to have to test the system. Okay, you're going to have to go into installer test mode, and you're going to have to trigger all the sensors. You're going to have to let the panel talk to all the Z-Wave devices and the cameras to make sure that everything is communicating and working well and reporting back to Vivint. So to get into installer test mode, you hit the menu, you hit support, version 2203. Okay, then we're going to go into system testing. In installer toolbox, we hit system testing, and as you can see, we have sounder, test mode, installer test, broadband test, cellular test, two-way sensor test, Z-Wave, Z-Wave diagnostics, and network diagnostics. Okay, all we're going to do is we're going to hit installer test mode, and this is going to walk us through all of those individual tests right there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to check the sounder and the speaker. So we just click on it, sounds it for a couple seconds, it passes. We're going to test the speaker. Okay, it passed that one. Okay, and then once we get done with those two, we hit the next button up here in the top right hand corner. Okay, cellular test, sending test. So it did a cellular test and a broadband test. That means that the cell unit is connected to Vivint, and the broadband test passed, saying, hey, I got a good connection as well. So once those two are done, we're going to go to next. Okay, then it says installer test on sensor test. Now this is where you're going to go open doors and windows. You're going to trigger smoke detectors, motion detectors, whatever alarm peripherals that you actually have. And as you go in and test them and it sends the signal, it'll go on and check them off saying signal sent, signal sent, signal sent. And so this is where you're going to have to walk around and open them up. So I'm going to go open up the sensors really quick. You guys can watch the video here. Okay, so as you can see here, these are all the ones. We had a front door, we had an interior garage door, we had a back sliding door, we had a hallway motion, we had our smoke detector, and the hallway heat detector, and the hallway freeze detector, and so that got everything right there. As you can see, good signal strength. It all passed. We can hit next. We do have an emergency key fob, or a key fob that has an emergency button on it, so we need to send that one. So we'll go ahead and send that one. Okay, so we actually just sent that one right there. So then we're going to hit next. Okay, now the duress. So right here, this question is asking, it's got to test the panic key fob, or the panic buttons, the medical, fire, the police on the keypad, but we haven't enabled our duress code yet. So it's asking us, do you want to enable it? And you just hit yes. And so what it's going to do is going to go in, police, fire, emergency, and then duress code. So all of them passed, so we can move on to our next one. Okay, now here it is. This is running the Z-Wave Rediscover network. So it's actually going out. We got a hallway thermostat, we got a front door lock, interior garage door lock, and a lamp module. So it's going out. And it's communication. When it's doing the Rediscover network, it's actually setting up the mesh. And the mesh is the way that the Z-Wave devices are going to communicate with the panel. Okay, so we've got a passed, a passed, a passed, a passed. If you don't get a pass, then you're going to have to to relocate a lamp module or put in a lamp module or do whatever. But the lamp modules is what helps make a Z-Wave path very strong. So we got all passes, so our Rediscover Network pass and our Z-Wave devices are in their proper location. We're going to hit next. Okay. Installer Z-Wave test. This is going to go in and look at the health score. Okay. This health score has to be 8 and above. Okay. So it's going through. It passed. Now, like I said, there's a video on Z-Wave. It's called the Z-Wave video. It's probably about 10 or 15 minutes long. It'll go into a little bit more detail on Z-Wave, so I would recommend watching this. But through installer test mode, this is what we're looking for, okay? So we passed there. We're going to hit next. Now we're going to do our two-way voice test. The two-way voice test is when we're actually going to send a signal to the monitoring station, and then a computer is actually going to come over and talk to us. You need to make sure that you have the account number or the CSID number ready to give to the guy. And you either get that through a text message, on the phone with data entry, or there's a place inside Installer Toolbox where you can actually locate that. So we're actually going to go ahead and send that two-way test signal just so that we can show you what the two-way test looks like. Like I said, you need to have the CSID or the account number ready to give them. So we're just going to wait for them to come across here on the two-way call. So just hang tight with us. Hopefully they'll come across here shortly.
This is Vivid two-way testing. Please say the account number, one digit or letter at a time.
E1107449.
Is that E1107449?
Yes.
Please hold while we verify the account. The account has been activated. The confirmation number is 431115457. Do you want me to repeat that?
No.
Thank you for activating your system. Goodbye.
Okay, so at the very end of that, it gave me a confirmation number, okay? So I want to make sure I have a pen ready so I can write that confirmation number down on the paperwork, and that when you call data entry, they can actually verify it. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the test mode, okay? Now, the test mode is something that you'll want to do like on a service call. Let's just say you did an install. You want to come back to a house a week later because you have to do a service call. The panel's unlocked, you can do your stuff. If you need to send signals or send a SIG test or whatever, you can actually go in and you put it on test, and as you can see, it turns it orange. Even when you come out, even to the home screen, as you can see, it's orange. That means that the panel is in test. Let's just say you put a new door sensor on, you can go in and send that signal from that door. That's what test mode does. As far as if you're on a service call or whatnot. So let's go back in here to installer test mode. Okay, we'll go back into system testing and we can actually turn that off. Now if you forget to turn it off, it will turn it off eventually. Okay, now you can turn the sounder off if you need to send signals outside of installer test mode or whatever, but you can actually go in and test these individually without going into installer test mode. So if you wanted to do a two-way voice test, all you had to do is click on it. If you wanted to do a cell test, all you'd have to do is click on it, okay, and it would go in and test the cell unit. Okay, so you can actually, test it individually, but most of the time, guys are just going to use the installer test mode at the end of the install, send all their signals, and get it done. But like I said, the most important thing that you take from this video is all the Z-Wave devices need to be installed in their proper location, so when you run that test. Now, you can actually go into Z-Wave here and you can go in and do a diagnostics test here. So you can go in and test the diagnostics here, and this is where, if you are having troubles with Z-Wave communicating with the panel and stuff like that, you might want to run the diagnostics test and the Rediscover Network test outside of installer toolbox, because you can actually go in and look at the health score. You can go see the paths that it's actually communicating with. That's why you need to watch that Z-Wave video that we actually made. And there's a test that you can actually take along with it. But it's very important that the Z-Wave passes, because if it passes and has good health score of 8, 9, or 10, what will happen is you probably won't have very many service calls on that. And you got to understand how the mesh works, how important Z-Wave devices are that have power in them, how they're used as a repeater and stuff like that. Like I said, that video actually goes into it quite a bit. So that's all that we have on installer test mode. Now let's move on to our next training.